Run off in the 14th special election. Joining us live in studio in the Mark Aram Show, as he does every Wednesday at this time, political analyst Stephen Lawson. Stephen, good morning. Thanks for coming in, my friend.
Happy Wednesday.
Not surprised, right, that the Democrat advance. I mean, it's a dark red district. Were you surprised that the Democrat advanced with the highest vote total on the special election?
Not really, because I think what you had is you had a math problem. There were 17 entrants on this ballot, Mark. 15 of them were Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
And so that split is obviously going to favor the Democrats. You mentioned Sean Harris coming in with 36%. Right behind him, Clay Fuller, the Republican endorsed by Donald Trump, captured 35% of the vote. And when you look at holistically, Republicans on the ballot captured 60%. The Democrats captured 40%. Now, that is an overperformance once again in a special election for Democrats. This is about a 65, 70 to 30 district, and they're pulling in 40%. It will be interesting to see moving to the runoff if that trend line continues and if they're able to make this competitive.
Now, you and I know that. The national media, though, grabbed this. Like, Democrat wins gets the most votes in the primary to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, my God, they're going to I mean, and no offense to Mr. Harris. I'm sure he's going to run a fine campaign, but he's not favored, right? Going against Clay Fuller in the 14th.
No, he shouldn't be. But again, the caveat, Mark, that we've seen in all of these special elections is that anything can happen. Obviously, I think Clay Fuller will be the odds-on favorite. Again, this is a very red district, very Republican stronghold. He will have the money. We're already seeing money from outside groups pour into this race for this April 7th runoff.
Why? Why, though?
Because the margins in D.C. are so slim. And I think Republicans in Washington rightly realize they cannot take anything for granted. And on any given Tuesday in a special election in sleepy Northwest Georgia,
all right, yeah, I guess
anything can happen.
I guess. I don't know. I would, if I was in charge of the coffers of either the Democrat or Republican parties, I'm not going to waste too much money on it. It's not a complete lock that Clay Fuller's going to win this, but it's pretty close. Although, I thought the United States would beat Italy in the World Baseball Classic yesterday. So I guess anything could happen.
Rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah. Interesting. So, all right, that being said, if they're going to spend money, does that mean President Trump's going to get on Air Force One and come down to Rome again?
I'll be surprised if he comes back. I mean, I think if he came back that quickly, that soon, that would probably be a sign that there are problems, and I don't think that would look good. I do think he'll do video messages and tweets and things like that to help drive out turnout.
But he's not going to come back down. Political analyst Stephen Lawson joining us live in studio on the Mark Aram Show. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Marjorie Taylor Greene has not endorsed a candidate yet, and probably will she endorse Clay Fuller, or is she just staying out of the fray?
I think she's just she's staying out of the fray, and I think she's just lobbing bombs from the sidelines right now.
Interesting.
So
she's a bomb lobber.
She is. She's good at that.
That's on the business card now.
That's right.
Bomb lobber. Stephen, big news when it comes to the race for governor. Rick Jackson is now suing Burt Jones. What's behind this lawsuit?
Yeah, very interesting tactic. We've talked about on your show, Mark. Rick Jackson has sued Burt Jones over his political leadership committee, right? These outside groups that can raise unlimited funds. He was successful in that initial endeavor. And so now Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones can only raise and spend money out of his campaign account. That was a big legal victory for Rick Jackson. Rick Jackson's back with a defamation lawsuit against the Burt Jones campaign, alleging that they are misrepresenting his record and his facts. The filing is very interesting. If you look at it, it's about 30 pages. The first 28 or so pages are just a recap of the campaign. It almost reads like a press release. Mm-hmm. And the last 2 pages get to the substance of his claims. I think this is probably a move in a couple different directions. One, I think this is Rick Jackson's campaign sending a signal to Burt Jones's campaign, like, hey, you better think twice about lobbing these negative attacks, and they better be buttoned up. But it's interesting, the day after the defamation lawsuit Burt Jones goes up on air with a negative attack ad, really dealing with that same substance of the attack, which is somehow that Rick Jackson is tied in with Planned Parenthood.
So just that attack ad that Scott Slade mentioned yesterday on the air, um, that's an official Burt Jones campaign ad, or is that a PAC ad that's going after Rick Jackson?
Official Burt Jones campaign ad.
Interesting. So just for clarification purposes, we know the huge splash that Rick Jackson made in the campaign, right? Flooding the airways, going to spend a lot of money, rags to riches stories. But on the ads he's been playing on WSB Radio, really attaching himself to President Trump's agenda, outsider, and one of the most stark lines in the radio advertisement is against transgendered, and that's what the attack ad that Burt Jones launched against Jackson, basically saying, I'm paraphrasing, but that Rick Jackson's health care in his company provided transgender care. Am I understanding it correctly?
The substance, I believe, of his attack is that a subcontractor of Jackson Healthcare, a job posting website, was posted and on Planned Parenthood or was somehow connected to that.
Okay.
The Rick Jackson campaign has pushed back very vehemently against that. They deny that claim, basically alleging that the Burt Jones campaign is grasping at straws. But again, this is clearly, I think, a sign that this race is ramping up. I think you're going to continue to see the back and forth negativity on both sides. But I think the key difference here right now is Rick Jackson's money on the airwaves defining himself in a very real and positive way. I think it's, again, what the lieutenant governor is going to have to do is to tell his side of the story and to define himself. He's starting to do that, touting the endorsement of President Trump that he has. But I think that's going to have to continue, and he's going to have to continue to define himself and the things that he's been able to accomplish.
Stephen Lawson joining us live in studio here in the Mark Arum Show. Might we see a counter ad from Rick Jackson then against this attack ad from Burt Jones, just clarifying his position and what that attack ad was all about?
It's possible. Obviously Rick Jackson's campaign, they have the benefit of unlimited resources essentially right now. So that's something that they're probably going to look at and figure out how they push back against that attack. But I think they're also going to be looking probably at some polling to see how effective is that attack ad actually being. Because if it's not really moving the needle or it's only having diminishing returns, they may decide, hey, we're going to spend our resources going on offense on positive messages.
They pay me the big bucks to make observations like this. Burt Jones, the biggest thing going for him right now is that Trump endorsement, right? That's why I get the big bucks, because I can recognize that.
Nailed it.
That being said, does Burt Jones' future in this race, is it completely tied to President Trump's approval numbers, what's happening with the economy? Like, if you're on that bandwagon, you're on it. You can't jump off it at any point.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we know generally in a Republican primary what that endorsement gets you. It's a big, big deal in a Republican primary. But there is a ceiling to it, right? It's probably around 30% is what that gets you off the bat. But to get to 35, 40, 45, 50%, you've got to flesh out your own story. You've got to tell your own story and the accomplishments that you've had. I think that is incumbent for Burt Jones to do, in terms of he's got a good story to tell. He's got cutting the state income tax, school choice, the Riley Gaines Act, a number of things that he can talk about. I think that's the test for him. He's going to have to continue to do that in a big way, in addition to Donald Trump's endorsement.
Anecdotally, just on social media, primarily Facebook and X, Twitter, I'm seeing Burt Jones ads and I'm seeing Rick Jackson's ads. I'm not seeing any other ads for any other candidate in any other race. That tells me something, that this is where the money's going to go in to this race. If they're hitting me up on Facebook and Twitter, they're spending money not just on TV and radio, but they're hammering digital as well.
Those two are taking all of the oxygen out of the room. And we've talked about it, Mark. I think because of Rick Jackson's spending, that's also going to diminish the value of other down ballot races and their messages. It's going to make it harder for those campaigns to break through. And yeah, it's a 2-horse race in that governor's race, barring some seismic shift.
Mhm.
I think it's those two in a runoff, and I buckle up. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Indeed. All right, go freebase some Benadryl. Thanks for fighting through the pollen. I know it's tough. My wife is just absolutely getting crushed by this pollen, but thanks for fighting through and coming in and spending some time with us, my friend.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure.
Oh, Dentons.com. Dentons.com, half off Benadryl. Code word Lawson. Thank
Love
you
it.
so much, my friend. All right,